Welcome back to another Tabernet Talks. We are with a very special guest here today. This is one I'm sure you guys know. I really am excited that he's here. In this market, it's not easy to get real estate agents like him to come on only because you're so busy in a market where everybody says that they're dead. You go on social media and you see this guy pumping videos, doing his thing. You know, he's not worried about all the naysayers and the rates are high and all this stuff. You know, he's really out doing his thing. Young guy, right? So he's not like an old veteran who's been in the business for 20, 30 years. We're going to bore you to death here and hear about how he wants to retire, right? So he's here to stay. I talked to him
here
for the
while.
show. He doesn't sound like he's going anywhere,
Nope.
right? So I don't think we have to worry about that. Marco DeGabriel. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Alex.
No,
I
you're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
I want some background info on you because I want to know where you began, what year you got into it, what made you get into it, and then let's take it from there.
Sure.
Okay.
So I got into the business back in 2017, and when I first graduated from University of Delaware, I was working at a small marketing and web design startup. So completely different industry. Okay. Really nothing to do with real estate.
Right.
When I graduated, I knew I liked two things. One being, entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Businesses. I liked online e-commerce stuff.
Nice.
So I went that route.
Okay.
With the
so you had a business background somewhat.
I did. Yeah, I was an entrepreneurship and marketing major. So I always liked that type of thing.
Right.
But I liked real estate too. I had an interest in real estate ever since I was probably in 7th or 8th grade.
Nice.
Read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and got more into the entrepreneurship kind of mindset. Yeah. So the web design startup didn't really pan out the way that I was hoping it would.
Right.
So I was there as an intern and then took a full-time position there. And after about 6 months, I rolled, told the owner, was like, this just isn't working out. I'm going to go and get my real estate license, moved to Philly with a couple buddies and really just dove right in full time.
Took off from there.
Yeah.
And so what year did you start as a real estate agent?
It was, so I believe 2017 was my first year, about 6 months. I was
got in
agent.
at a good time.
Yeah.
Right? It's a good market.
It was a good market. Yeah, it was a good market. I started doing a lot of open houses. I was new to the city.
Right.
Kind of got a pulse on what was going on as far as I found.
I remember 2018 as being the beginning of, it was a fresh market, right? There were deals being done.
There
was inventory.
There was. It was a great market because it was like there was a lot of buyer demand, but it wasn't like super low inventory either. So it was like things were just kind of moving. You know? It was very nice.
And then the pandemic hit, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right? Where were you then?
So I was a solo agent. I was basically had a personal brand, Life on Broad. We talked a little bit.
Right.
That's kind of the MO that I was running under.
Let's go into that. So Marco runs a company called Life on Broad.
Yep.
Right. So, what I see interesting with a lot of the people like him is they have their own brands. Okay.
Correct.
They have their own companies inside of a company, right? So KW or the Jim Roach team, which he works closely with, he also is a director of development, right? So director of development, which is huge for his age, and he has his own brand. And it doesn't seem like these companies make him do what they want to do, right? They allow him to open these different things and run these own ventures on his own. So tell us about Life on Broad.
Yeah. So Life on Broad was my original real estate lifestyle brand. Really, I wanted to create content to help people understand what the city had to offer.
Okay.
And basically that was my real estate business, was Life on Broad. I, was kind of ramping it up myself. I was a solo agent. So when I came into the business, I wasn't on a team. I was just straight up doing
your thing,
my own thing. And that's how I started. And then we talked about, the pandemic hitting, obviously.
Yes. Which was the end of the world for all of us. It was a few months. Well, as the pandemic hit us, and we thought it was the end of the world, right?
Right.
Real estate
Felt
was
like it.
shutting down,
Yeah.
and we couldn't leave our house. And how could we go sell a house if we were stuck in our house?
Yeah.
As a mortgage guy, in real estate in general, you can work from home and still do this job, right? But the pandemic was a different level of not leaving your home.
I mean,
because
Alex,
you just could never leave your home.
I had the
You know.
I had the police called on me
Right.
for opening the door to a house. I swear to God.
There you go. Right.
Swear.
You couldn't
It
even
was-
go in.
It was crazy. Like,
Just opening the door.
Literally opening the door, going and sitting in my car with a mask on, and
Yeah.
still got
Yeah.
the cops called on me.
I mean, that's
So,
insane.
It's crazy.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, during that time, it's like
It was tough.
tough and lonely.
Yes.
Solo agent, it's like you don't have
Right. No team. no
any
nothing.
team or layers of support. You can't go into the office. So that's
Yeah.
when, Jim and I started talking. He had a need for someone who could help him to ramp up the new construction and development sales,
Okay.
which was something that I was dabbling in. I had connections with some of his
Now,
clients.
how many did he have on his team at that point when he brought you on?
I want to say seven or eight people.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're from the bottom.
Pretty early.
Because
on.
I think he told me that
Yeah.
he has something like 40, maybe 50.
Yeah, we're in the 40s.
Right.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
7.
I think last year we were at when we had the most we ever had was about 52.
That's awesome.
I think we'll end this year around 45.
Right. So you were at the bottom, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was early.
Right.
Yeah, which was cool.
Which
It's
is
been cool,
awesome.
cool to see the
That's what I mean. You
progression.
sold the building, the growing.
for sure.
Right.
There was a lot of it.
He's got to give you the piece of the action now. That's it. I'm going to talk to him. All right. I mean, come on now. Let's step up, Jim. All right. So anyway, all right. So pandemic passes.
Yeah.
You're rolling now with this team. You're feeling good, right? You're putting it together. You're recruiting, obviously, because this thing didn't go from 7 to 40 overnight.
Yep.
It was a gradual, I'm sure, beginning. This industry, from what I'm seeing, has lost 100,000 agents since January now. Okay.
Correct.
It's breaking down to like every 6 or 7 minutes we lose an agent.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Okay? Mortgage guys, unfortunately, are falling off left and right. Some of my best friends that I've been in the business forever are leaving the business or aren't able to survive. And my heart goes out to them because I know a lot of these guys are hard workers, but it's just the way that the industry is right now. What do I brought you on because with you being the director of sales and working with new agents, how do I not become one of those statistics, of people that can make it through here on what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, so I've heard people throw around a lot that this is like a skills-based market.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard people say that.
I've heard many things. Yes.
I honestly, I do think skills come into play right now, but I really think it's more so than anything just an action-based market.
Right.
Got
to be aggressive.
Yeah, the reality of the situation is like the pie has shrunk, right? The
Big
amount
time.
of deals happening
Big
is
time.
less.
Correct.
So if you want to maintain your level of income or just stick around and stay in the business, it's like you have to just double the amount of activities you're doing.
Okay.
So this past year, it's like I felt like I was working twice as hard as I had to work in order to basically sustain the same level of business that I
Right.
sustained in
You're
years
working
past.
double, possibly triple.
Yeah. And so I think we came out of a market where a lot of agents were kind of order takers.
Yep.
I'm sure it was kind of the same on the
Same
mortgage
thing.
side. It
well,
was like,
sure, when the rates are 2 and 3%,
right.
you're an order taker,
Right.
right? When the rates are 7 or 8%, you got to work.
Yeah. You got to work, you got to sell, and
Right.
you got to really know your stuff. You got to know how to navigate and get creative.
Correct.
With different
Back to
products.
basics.
Yeah.
Back to a 2017 market.
Right. Which honestly was a great market.
That's what I mean. It's just work.
Yeah. It's just work.
They weren't falling in your lap.
Right.
You had to market yourself.
Well, the biggest downfall of the past 2 years, which obviously, before rates really started to rise, was that the agents who got in got used to not having to really work or prospect.
Yeah.
And they never really gained those skills. And now it's like when that's all that really matters, there's a learning curve that they haven't hit yet.
Right.
You know?
Because they don't know any better as to what it is to be in a market other than the pandemic market where the rates were 2 and 3%.
Exactly. So
So so you're saying work, right? Be aggressive. You know why I'm asking you this is because I get this question every day, from agents and from different loan officers on what do I need to do to make it through this. I told you before the show, I do think this market is a little bit tougher than the 2008 market. And I'm going lightly there. It's been, not easy. So, I think to make it through, you got to really block out the noise, get off the social media, do videos like he's doing, which we're going to get to. I mean, he's doesn't seem like he's sitting on social media all day, saying, oh, well, this is the gloom and doom. He's out doing his videos in every neighborhood in the city, telling buyers what they're missing, right? Showing them new listings they probably don't know about because their agent is MIA right now.
Yeah.
Half of them aren't answering the phones, which I'm not going to get into communication this week. I did that last week. But, where are they?
Yeah.
Right? So, and he's probably cleaning house.
So, I mean, with the social media stuff, like, I'll never forget someone said to me, like, you're either a creator or you're a consumer.
Right.
So it's like,
you got to be the creator.
And I had that mindset shift because, listen, there's been times where I've been the consumer, and it's like if you're sitting on Instagram or Facebook and you're not using it as a tool for your business, what are you doing on there?
Right. Well, you're just scrolling.
You're just scrolling. You're doom scrolling.
Right.
And especially right now, it's easy to doom scroll and see all the doom and gloom. So I really,
it's terrible right now.
Yeah. And I learned a lot from, Jim's business took off during the pandemic.
Sure.
That was a time when
he cleaned house.
There was a lot of fear, right? At first. And that's when he really started to take off. So yeah, I'm taking the same approach this time around. It's like, we're in a weird market.
I think he doubled down.
Yeah, he doubled down. So that's
and it worked.
Yeah. That's the key.
If you don't double down in this market, I think you're going to lose, even triple down. You really have to go all in.
You do.
And do everything. Use all your knowledge. Use your contacts that you have. And try to stay positive.
Yeah.
I say that every day. And even days I crack, you got to stay positive. And you have a wife at home, you have a girlfriend or a friend or whoever it is at home that can help you stay positive, that helps too. I think if you have a good support system, that always helps.
Yep. It does.
To make you keep going and not wake up that morning and say, I just want to give up.
Yeah. It's tough. There's days where, it hits you, but I think your mindset is like the number one asset that you have. If you don't have your mind right, it's tough to do anything else.
So let's go through the towns in the city right now, right? So I know where you guys are at. Obviously, you're in a hot spot over there. That Fishtown, Northern Liberties feeling.
Yep. We're up in Fishtown, right across from Rivers Casino.
Yeah. I was there. Awesome place. Up and coming spot. Seems like new construction everywhere. Place is just exploding.
Everywhere.
Right? You can't even recognize it.
No, you can't. It's completely changed.
But as a buyer, where do you think I should go right now? Should I go to Fishtown? Like, I ask this a lot, obviously, but this is a big one. Should I go to Fishtown? Should I? Where else in the city do you think I should go right now that I should feel safe and buy?
Yeah. I mean, it really depends on, as a buyer, what you're looking for. If you're hunting for deals, you want to go to these neighborhoods that have a lot of inventory that are sitting,
Philly.
In Philadelphia.
Right, which is the only place in the city that deals are actually sitting
in
Philadelphia.
It's incredible because it's like if you look
at
the
main
suburbs,
line, forget it.
Right. Totally different market. And this has kind of been the tale of two markets. And I keep telling people, because people who've looked in the burbs who are also considering the city don't understand the difference in the market. So they're used to going and seeing a property and there's 5 offers on it and they're getting beat out and they're getting tired. I just put a couple of buyers under contract who they had looked in the burbs for a year. They decided to stick around the city. They're getting a great deal. They're getting a great deal on a new construction home. They're getting
Philly.
In Philly, really nice home, parking. They're getting a nice credit.
How did you do that? How did you sell somebody to come into the city? It's amazing.
So
everybody, right? I mean, everybody's coming to me saying, "Oh, let's get out of the city."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I think again, it depends on what's important to you. If some people feel like they need to go out of the city because maybe they have kids, maybe they need the school district. But if you're a younger single person or you're a couple, you don't have kids yet, and really you're just looking for more space or certain intangibles, like there's a lot of value in the city.
And you can get a good deal.
You can get a good deal. That's
You
the
can
main
negotiate
thing.
the price right now.
You can
You can get a seller concession right now.
easily.
Right.
Most of the time, you can negotiate.
It's
that
a done deal.
for sure.
Right. You got a lot of medical people.
Yeah,
Right. The hospitals.
doctors,
They're
nurses.
always drawing people into the city.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening right now and you're a medical professional, you got to come into the city because you're going to get a good deal, right? Don't think you speak to a realtor and they try to press you to go to the main line,
Right.
Because I don't know what their ulterior motives are sometimes, but I think if you get a good city realtor like Marco and you're coming into the city as a medical professional, he's the guy to go see, and not only medical professional, any type of professional, because there are still good deals to be had in. And what parts of the city do you think they should go? Fishtown?
So yeah, I mean, I've seen people right now can get deals pretty much wherever they're looking. There are some areas that are a little bit hotter and faster moving.
Yeah.
I think the areas closer to the burbs, like you're still seeing a little bit of a faster paced movement in Manayunk and Roxborough.
Right. Because you're still kind
Mount
of out
Airy.
of the city.
Right.
Right.
And people tend to I think COVID really changed what people are looking for. Like people want a little bit more room.
Sure.
They
Because they work from home now.
Exactly. They want outdoor space.
Right.
These are things
Right.
that before the pandemic sometimes weren't as important.
Now you probably would know this. Are the office buildings empty in the city right now?
I would say they're getting there.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're still cleaning out.
Yeah. There's a lot less demand for office space right now. We were talking about this place.
Right.
Awesome opportunity because
Yeah.
it's like there's so many people who now opt to work from home, but
Yeah.
this space that we're in here,
Yeah.
they can kind of choose.
If
to
you
come
don't know,
in.
we're in a WeWork space here,
Yeah.
and this seems like the new age, new future of business, right?
Yep.
Where people, they come, they might not want to work home that day,
Right.
So they'll come into a place like this and they'll work from here for the day, and then another day they might work from home and they might go back, but they're not forced to go into an office 5 days a week in Center City.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 So that's been a struggle. I mean, we're seeing buildings in the city that used to be office space get purchased for, pennies on the dollar.
Are you
and
seeing
get
a lot
converted.
more rentals too? Just renting apartments or condos and stuff like that? Or
Honestly, I mean, the rental market has been pretty slow too.
slow?
It's been slow.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so
Because I would thought everybody was trying to rent because they couldn't find any inventory to buy.
it's kind of what I thought. Yeah. But, we,
So you learn something every week here.
there's a lot
It's,
of inventory coming online right
Period.
now in the rental market as well.
Yeah.
We there was this mad dash. So going back to 2021,
So all was rental.
and all these developers went to get their permits to build before the abatement changed. If
Right,
you remember
right.
the 10-year abatement.
Yes.
So all
And
that
now-
inventory is coming online.
And now they're in
Tons of
profit.
units.
Right.
So
And no one, and plus the prices, I think, of the rental units are probably a little bit insane right now too.
they were, and now they're starting to
They're
kind of
coming down.
level out. So
I live in South Philly, so I'm seeing a lot of houses sit in South Philly. They're not moving.
yeah, I mean, right now, days
Gerard
on market.
Estates, even Packer Park. You go down Broad Street in Shunk and Rittner and things like that. You're seeing houses sitting.
You are. There's value out there. I mean, the days on market right now in the city is averaging around, I think it's like 55 days right now
On market.
on market. So, going from a market where
It was
things
hustling
were
and bustling.
moving, that's,
Right.
2 months. Sellers
Yeah.
are like, oh, what's going on? It's like,
Yeah.
well, this is kind of the new normal. And honestly, I
Right.
mean, that's not even a high days on market. If you go back to years ago, even before I was in the business, like, a balanced market, days on market could be 120.
Right.
You know,
That was a
so-
regular. That goes back to maybe 15 and 16. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Where it
Before.
was this market just feels weird.
Does.
Like every agent that I talk to, and I know a lot of them, and I talk to a lot of them every day, they give me the same answer. I don't know if you're going to give me the same answer. is it weird right now? Is it just a weird market? Like that seems like the common answer that I keep getting. You know, what is, you know, what's your feeling on this market? Like, is it just, can you figure it out, or are you going to be able to figure it out, or you just go with the punches right now?
I think you got to find motivation. There's motivated people in every market.
Sure.
So, you know, you have to go after motivation. I've seen a lot of relo buyers, a lot of people who are relocating for work.
Okay.
Because those are people who
They need a job.
have no choice.
Right. And
right?
they need a job and they need a place to live.
People who are getting, unfortunately, divorced.
Right.
Listings I've seen come from,
Divorce
that.
listings are probably the highest I've seen ever.
I've seen a lot. Yeah.
Right. My divorce deals that I'm doing is refinancing, where if you don't know, we do a lot of refinancing where we refinance the husband or the wife off
of the loan.
Of the loan.
Yeah.
And the wife keeps the house or the husband keeps the house. And then the husband or the wife that leaves the house goes and buys another house where bring you guy into the mix because you guys then go out and show them a house.
Right. Because if you really think about it, I mean, in this equation, if you're looking to sell a home, most likely the rate that you have on that home, if you have it financed, is very low.
Yes.
Compared to what you're going to go out and now be able to purchase with. So
right. I try not to talk about that too much, Marco. I try to, because it's such a bad thing right now.
It is.
That's all you hear. Oh, well, I got 3%. I don't want to go to 7%.
Right.
I got 2%. I don't want to go to 6%. But give me the lowdown.
I mean, it can make sense. It depends on your situation, but the motivation has to be there. There has to be a reason that makes sense for you. Now,
how about I want to cash in on my house because I know I can still get a $50,000 bid over?
That's what I was going to say is like the flip side of that coin is, if you're sitting on that rate, but you have a ton of equity,
take the money.
Yeah, take the money and then go and find one of these deals that we're talking about where they can, you could buy your rate down significantly with a credit.
Right, which people don't realize.
Right.
So it's a buy down, right? You could permanently buy it down.
Correct.
With the seller concession.
Right. So you could be a point under where other people are saying that their rates are locked in at.
Yeah.
And that can make sense. I mean, if you're locked in at a 3.5% or a 4% right now, and you can buy a rate down in this current market to,
or how about this?
6?
You could buy it even lower.
Yeah.
You could buy them in the 5s.
5.5, right?
Or how about this? I'll keep my 2% rate. I'll rent out my current home, and I still can go buy another home.
And that's a great option.
Because you're going to get a lot of rental income on a 2% rate. It's going to wash out that payment no matter what.
The other thing that is tough, people don't really realize. It's like I've heard a lot of buyers who say, well, rates are high. I don't want to buy right now. It's like, this is such a good time. There's so much value in the market right now if you're a buyer that you have that leverage. But when rates come down a point or a point and a half and all these buyers flood back in the market, it's going to be a frenzy again.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be back at square one.
Every day.
So it's like,
and I actually have realtors like yourself that are worried when that happens because it's all going to break loose and it's going to go crazy again and everything's going to go, there's going to be really no inventory.
Right. It's going to go back to...
They like this market better, some of them, because it's more...
You can navigate this market. It's a little bit more balanced, right? That market is like, especially in Jersey, you're like...
Jersey's
yeah, you can take out buyers and...
Are you licensed in Jersey too?
I am not.
That's
but
good.
The team is. Yeah, I know my bread and butter. I stick to it.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with that.
No.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Because I do a lot of business in Jersey.
I stick to what I know.
And that's just a different animal.
Yeah, it is.
There's 20 bids. 30 bids,
right?
50,000 over, waive inspections, waive appraisals, do this, do that. Give us your firstbeen, whatever.
Seriously.
I mean, really,
it's like
blood,
a whole different animal.
Everything. So I know the Jersey market. I've been there, and you're right. This is more level. I probably like this better. But when those rates come down, it's going to go crazy here too.
For sure. Yeah. It'll go crazy everywhere because I mean, there is a lot of pent up demand in this market. Yep. There are buyers who have been delaying their purchase at this point for a year and a half, just watching rates continue to rise. And these buyers understand the market in the sense where when those rates do drop and they feel like the payment is more affordable for
They're
them,
going to jump
they're
on
going
it
to
and
jump
do it.
in.
Right, right.
So,
You know, I was on my way here. I got a phone. I wanted to bring this up, and I'm sure you know this, but the borrower wanted me to, was being referred by a realtor like yourself to do a pre-approval. I said that I'm on my way to do my podcast.
Yeah.
I can't do that right now, right? And but I go crazy like that. I want to do it on the spot. I was ready to tell the Uber guy to pull over, and I
Yeah,
got to do it right on the
just do
side
it.
of the street. But I didn't do that. I'm here anyway. The point of the story is they said, well, I don't want you to run my credit. Don't run a hard inquiry on my credit.
Right.
I want a soft inquiry.
Yep.
Right. You can't run a soft inquiry really to get a true pre-approval.
Right.
You
can't.
know that.
Yep.
You got to have a hard inquiry. She said, well, I already had one done last week by another mortgage company.
Right.
I said, well, how many other people ran it? Just that guy. So the note that I want to tell everybody is you can run your credit as many times as you want in a 30-day period.
Yep.
If it's for a mortgage and it only counts as one inquiry.
Yep. Yeah, that's people
huge.
don't know that.
They don't know
People don't know that.
I told her that, and I'm not lying. It's the truth. You can run it as many times as you want in a 30-day period.
Yep.
And they will not. It's only one ding.
Yeah.
You know, and that one ding can go all month. You could run up 10 companies for the pre-approval.
That's the window you have to kind of go and do that.
Right.
So yeah.
Right.
It's little known
it's a big
fact.
one. It's a little known fact that I wanted to throw out there. I'm sure you run into it all the time. You know, you get buyers, I'm sure. You send them to your mortgage guy, I'm sure. They scrub them for you, right? They look through there to get all their paperwork up front.
Yep.
You know, I'm sure you try to deal with the trusted ones that you know.
Sure.
Right? You don't want to go to these overseas, or not overseas, out-of-town companies.
Yeah, out of town, yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's tough because, like, you always want the buyer to work with a local expert, someone that you trust, someone who knows what's going on, because when you have someone who's servicing a loan and they're in Ohio or, you know, wherever they're not familiar with the abatement. Maybe they're not familiar with certain intricacies.
It's good to have somebody local to tell you that
just
stuff.
to understand those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always good to have.
Definitely interesting. So you're a realtor, right? So tell me one myth that you think is, you know, and I'm sure there's many myths as you laugh, because there's many myths as loan officers too.
Yeah.
But tell me one myth that is is a misconception.
Misconception.
I guess. Right. That's more of the word of what a realtor really does or for you.
Yeah.
Because I think right now you guys have to sell yourself even more than you've ever had to sell yourself to buyers because of what's going on with this commission thing, which I don't really want to get into, because I know there's a lot of legal things, and you know, I probably will say something wrong that I don't even know what I'm talking about, because I don't really know half of that stuff. Right? I just know.
I defer to my broker on that.
Let
kind
them
of
them
stuff,
take care of that stuff. But what's one myth? What's one misconception that I think people should know about a realtor?
Yeah. So one myth I would say is a lot of people who get into real estate are like, oh yeah, I want to set my own schedule. I want the flexibility.
Right.
It's like,
I want to come and go as I please.
yeah, it's not really, it's not like that.
Sure.
You know, it's,
we know that.
People think that you
looks
get in.
pretty on the outside.
Yeah, it looks pretty. You can kind of, and listen, there's times where you can set your own schedule. You can take time out of a day to do certain things. But the fact of the matter is, the first 3 years that I was in real estate, I worked easily 60, 70 hours a week. Easily. Like,
all day, every day.
I worked every single weekend.
Like open houses, whatever, showing buyers, whatever.
So it's not
on the computer working,
right.
whatever. Right.
Yeah, it's not a business where you just get in and all of a sudden you have this flexible schedule and you can do whatever you want all day. It's like when you're going into business for yourself, you have to be even more regimented than you would have otherwise been if you had a job. Because if you have a job, you're kind of given a schedule by someone, but if you aren't given one and you need to be responsible for creating your own income,
I don't think people understand that.
Yeah, you need to be very
They
regimented.
forget there's no salary.
Right, there's nothing.
Right. At the end of the month, if you don't close anything, you don't get anything.
Correct.
Right. This is what I tell all the loan officers: you're not getting paid.
Right.
You want to go and have ice cream at 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Go have ice cream.
Go do it. But
and
don't expect. Don't expect to get
whatever you want to do, dude.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. No sweat off my back.
Right.
Just don't ask me for a loan at the end of the month.
Exactly.
I'm not going to give you anything because you didn't work.
Yeah.
Bring me into a daily routine.
Daily routine.
of a top producer like yourself, right? What do we do when we wake up in the morning? Like we had just touched on what a realtor's misconception is
Yep.
on the market, and having your own free schedule and doing whatever you want whenever you want, right? Which is a great feeling if you can pull that off and still close deals.
Correct.
Then you figured it out.
Yeah.
But what is your typical routine?
Yeah, I haven't figured out how to not have a schedule and just close millions of
I
dollars
mean,
of deals.
it's a
If
tough.
someone can tell me, I'd love to hear it.
You'll
But,
sign up today. I
yeah.
know. Yeah, sure.
So my daily schedule, I'm a big believer in kind of master your morning.
Okay.
So I wake up around 5.
Good.
Go
Dark
to the gym.
outside.
Yeah, dark out. Get my workout in right away, and then come back to the house. Usually, I'll do some meditating, some reading.
Good.
Kind of set my intentions for the day and what I want to do.
Right.
And usually, I like to go into the office. Sometimes I'll work from home, but typically I'm going into the office between 8 and 8:30.
Early.
Getting in there pretty early. Yeah.
And I'm sure not many people there at that time.
No, I like to get in before
The crowd.
you start getting
Yeah.
inundated with
Right.
I
understand.
conversations and
Right,
things
because
like
you don't want
that.
to. Well, you know what it is in an office, and I used to work in many offices.
Yeah.
You try to get your work done in the morning.
Right.
You try to.
Yeah. It's the big work. The big rocks
It's that
you
8
want
to
to get
10
done.
work, because after 10 o'clock, once they start rolling in,
Exactly.
everybody's just talking, and
Right.
it turns into a party.
So yeah, the morning is the big things that I got to accomplish. So
Right.
typically it's a lot of lead gen,
Okay.
a lot of working on getting my listings sold. So
Yep.
reaching out to agents, reverse prospecting, things like that. So the mornings for me is income producing activities.
Okay.
Right. And then the afternoon is more so, it's still income producing, but it's more appointments,
Okay.
things like that.
So you're out on the street.
Out on the street more in the afternoons.
Right.
Correct.
Getting out, which
Yep.
is good.
Yeah.
What time do you think you get done nowadays? Does it ever end, or does it?
So I do try and shut it down between 5 and 6 for at least a couple hours while I'm home, dinner, things
Right.
like that.
Trying to
Usually
breathe.
fire back up
Right.
around.
See, that's the toughest time for
Yeah.
me. I'll be dead in the afternoon.
Right.
At 2, 3. I mean, it's dead.
Yep.
Right. Then all of a sudden,
You're getting hit with all the people who just went
At
out and
5.
saw properties
Right.
and now
It's
they
5
want to write.
o'clock.
Yeah.
boom,
Yep.
here they come. Or they were at work all day.
Right.
And they didn't want to talk.
Yeah. Well,
And now they want to talk.
I
Right.
mean,
that's the business.
it's the business. You work when people don't, because
Right.
that's when they can go see houses
Right.
and write offers and do those things.
Right.
So it's the nature of it. It's
I try to shut it down. Listen, in my heyday, when I was a younger man, like where I'm sitting next to, I would be crazy in the mortgage business and work till 10 or 11
Oh,
o'clock
yeah.
at night.
Me too. Yeah.
Sometimes even later.
Yep.
Like a
Like a maniac.
You know what I mean? Just boom, 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 boom. After a while, that gets old.
Yeah, it does.
You get burned. You lose some deals. You start to lose your steam on that.
You
right?
also
Yeah.
realize that there's not too many true emergencies in real
You're right.
estate. There's a few.
There are a few, but everybody makes it like it's a life or death
Exactly.
emergency.
And it's not.
My wife reminds me every week that we're not performing surgery.
Right.
Okay. No one's dying on the table,
Yep.
Alex. All right. They're okay, fine. So there's problems with them buying the house. Your job is to figure it out. But it's not the end
not
of
life
the
or
world.
death.
We're not going to be life or death.
Yeah, it's the
You know?
truth.
And it is the truth. And that sometimes that puts it back into perspective, like you just said.
You have to, because
You'll let it run you then.
again, my first 2-3 years, it was like
Everything's a fire.
I'm always on, right? But
Everything's a
then
fire. Yeah.
it also, you create your own kind of chaos, because if you're always on, then you start teaching your clients that they can just call you whenever. So it's like, now I set more of a standard up front of when I'm available. They know when they can reach me and when I'm kind of
You know what I
shut
say?
down.
I say, get out of your own way.
Yeah,
You really
For
got to
sure.
get out of your own way. You're your own biggest problem.
right.
I mean,
Half the time. It's the
half
truth.
the time.
Yeah,
it's the
probably
truth.
more than half the time.
More than half. Right. You're your own problem. You got to back off sometimes. You can't make something happen that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
You
can't
only
force it.
control as much as you can control.
Well,
You know,
I think that's another, thing that we're seeing in this market is like so many people are trying to force deals, it's like, really, you just got to go and find new opportunity.
Right.
It's like,
it's funny you say that. And I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because, I don't think most realtors will admit that, that they, and even loan officers, it's both sides. I'm not going to say we're any better. I mean, we're
Right.
throwing stuff up against the wall too. That,
Yeah.
we're on board with it.
Sure.
And because you have nothing else.
Right.
You have no other deals to put in. You have nothing else working because all you did is nurture this one deal that probably should have never been under contract to begin with.
And now you're banking on it.
Because you had a loan officer telling you, yeah, the deal was good when it really wasn't a good deal.
Right.
Right? So the realtor listens to the loan officer because the loan officer pre-approves them. Watch out there. You get some crazy letter from the loan officer says it's approved. The realtor goes and drives around for 16 days in a row. They finally get the person under contract. The thing explodes. The realtor continues to push it and push it and push it. Right? It's because it's the only thing they got going. Because like you said, they're not out there expanding.
Right. And that's the thing is like, if you're just banking on the one or two people that you're working with to pan out,
Yeah,
you're going to be desperate, right? So being a desperate agent or a desperate loan officer is not a good position for you or your client, right?
No.
So,
And they sense that.
Oh, they do.
They know.
You could smell it from miles away.
Right away on the phone.
Yeah.
They don't even have to look you in the face.
Yeah,
They hear you on the phone.
Yeah,
and they know you're the only client that they
know.
Right. And then they control you.
Right. And that's how you get run ragged.
Right.
That's how you get run ragged.
Right. So listen, I wanted to touch on your videos.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy is, look him up. Okay. I'm not lying now. All right. Go on Instagram, go on Facebook or, TikTok. I'm sure he's got going too. I haven't even scoped the TikTok, but I'm sure you got that.
Yeah. So
somewhat going, or maybe
it's
everywhere.
All the same stuff. Yeah. I'm
right.
trying to
I mean, this
spread a wide net.
This guy is all over social media, right? He's doing the videos every day. So how important is that to your business right now? Have you gotten business off of it?
Yeah.
And, what kind of content are you sticking with? Is it just showing listings or is it just in general?
So my first kind of dive into content was pretty early in real estate. I always was a big proponent of just posting what I was doing on social media. And the first time I realized it was paying off, I went back to it was like a college reunion thing. And it was a lot of people who had never really commented or engaged with my stuff.
Right.
But everyone who came up to me was like, "Oh, you're in real estate. I know
They knew
you're
right
doing
away.
Philly real estate." And I was like, "Oh, this is good. This is a very good thing." And so,
because they already saw your face.
right.
Right.
And so my social media has never been something that has driven a ton of leads that were cold leads to my business. But what it's done is it established me with my sphere and the people who are in my network as an expert. So they reach out to me.
Okay. I like it.
That's kind of my take on social media. Now I have gotten cold business from it too.
Good.
And it's good. But most of it
is stuff that people know you,
Yep.
maybe in your neighborhood or a friend, a past friend, or somebody you ran into in a past colleague, maybe.
Correct.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
I had people from high school who I
That's what I
hadn't
mean.
spoken
Reach out.
to in 10
And
plus
they came
years.
out of
And they
nowhere.
said, "Hey, I want to buy a house in Philly. I think, you're
I saw
the
your stuff."
person." Right. So that's what it really does. It supports your network.
And you're comfortable in front of the video, which is not easy to be comfortable in front. This is not easy for me to do even
No,
tonight.
it's not.
And this is not an easy thing to do, right?
You got to just kind of put yourself out there. It is uncomfortable. I don't
Right.
particularly like it. When I'm in these
Well,
neighborhoods.
you fooled us. Let me tell you.
When I'm in these neighborhoods
so-
and I'm in front of some friggin' restaurant and people are walking by and I'm
Right,
talking
you're doing a
about it
video.
and someone's
Yeah.
filming me, I
Yeah.
feel awkward.
I'm sure.
But
But you block
go
that
with
out?
it.
Yeah, you block it out.
You just you just do it,
That's smooth too. So
Thanks.
there's no script, really. I mean, it's just
I'm not a script guy. I'm a
Right.
very
just
off
lay
the
it-
top kind of. Actually, I'll do worse with a script because
Yeah.
once I start reversing something, then
Yeah,
it's
then
like
you
if
forget it.
you
Right,
forget, you
right.
miss
So you just
one
want
word.
to flow.
Yeah,
Just want to flow.
just go off the top.
He does a lot of, from what I saw, you're going to different neighborhoods.
Yeah,
Like I saw
neighborhood
the ones
videos.
in Girard Estate that you did, which was really
Yeah.
good.
Interesting.
sharp. Yeah, really, really stuff that I didn't even know. Right. He did Passion Cab, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Right. I think he did
Yeah,
down there.
done
yeah,
a few.
It's a good
Yeah.
video. These are places that, you know what it is. He tells you things about those neighborhoods that you probably don't know.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it. It's not just, hey, look at 16 Smith Street for sale for $570,000. Come and buy it. Anybody could do that. I mean, you could just point at the house and say, you want to buy this here? It's nice. That's not what it's about.
People don't want you to talk about real estate
don't want you to
in
sell
a sense.
them.
Exactly. It's like, I'm not out, we'll do listing walkthroughs and things like that. It's good for,
Yeah, we're going to show the list.
it's good. But people like to learn about the city. They like the best videos that I do are like about the new developments that are happening. People are interested in like what's coming to their neighborhood.
Yeah.
So new restaurants, new bars, new apartment buildings, grocery stores, like that's the information that I think people are finding value in.
Okay.
I'm kind of like starting to just I'm early in the process with all this social media stuff. So it's like
it doesn't look like it.
I appreciate it.
You're lying pretty good.
Yeah. I've been doing it for like maybe 3
Yeah.
months consistently,
Cool.
like videos every day. But now
I
I'm
think it
starting
gets
to
easier.
see, and I'm starting to see what's working and what's not.
Right.
So I can cut out the stuff that's not.
Right. You see the engagement.
Right.
And
Exactly.
who liked it and who didn't like
Yep.
it, who's commented in, and this is the kind of video that they want to see.
Exactly.
I think it's all trial and error.
It is. It is.
Because
Because there's some videos I put up and it's like, oh,
yeah, like why did
that
I
wasn't
do
good.
that?
Yeah.
But that's the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. I think
learn.
after video 100, then you're just like rolling.
Yeah.
You know
And-
how to do it.
There's people who've built really large businesses and brands for themselves just with the consistency of it.
Yeah. So when you're in your eyes looking for a realtor, I guess social media, as far as videos and stuff like that, should be a big part of your reason to want to work with them, right? I mean, not to say that realtors that don't do social media or who don't do videos are not good. I'm not putting them down, because there's a lot of old school guys and veterans in this business that just are not comfortable on social media, and they're good at what they do, right? So maybe it's just not their forte. But I think in this new age and the way this market is and the way the buyers are, you got to have this piece.
I think it's a good piece. I don't think it's the end all be all. Like you said, I think there's agents who it's just not their cup of tea. They're not going to be doing videos.
They're not going to do it.
And it's okay. And maybe they do something really well that I don't do, right? So maybe
maybe they're just closing deals.
Maybe they're just closing deals. They don't have time. Maybe I'm just out here running
Maybe
around.
me and you are sitting on a couch right
exactly.
now, and they're in the conference room back there closing a deal,
Right.
laughing at us, saying, look at those guys make a video over there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
right,
I don't think it's the end all be all. I think it's just another, level of kind of exposure that you're getting. It's an asset.
Right.
You know?
Right. All right, so we're going to move into predictions for 2024.
Predictions.
Right?
Okay.
We're 1 month away. This is the 30 days until 2024. What you do now dictates where we're going. I always went full steam in December my whole career.
Yeah.
I used to work Christmas week like an animal.
Yep.
When everybody else was off. Not that I went in the office. I could do it from home, but I still worked.
Yeah, this is the time.
This is the time to do it.
Yeah.
Because this builds your pipeline, because you're going to be sitting in February in the cold with no pipeline if you don't build it now. Because what you do now is 60 days from now.
We've been preaching this to
all
our
I
team
preach.
because
That's
it's
it.
like,
That's it.
if you miss this time, and that's why so many agents start their year off on the wrong foot, is because they take
You don't
off.
start January 2nd.
Yeah, they'll take off from Thanksgiving to basically January 1st, 2nd, and then it's like, oh, why didn't I close any deals in January and February? It's because you didn't do anything.
You can't start then.
Right.
You're not going to have deals fall in your lap January 2nd, and then all of a sudden, let's close January 30th.
It's not how it works.
You might fall into something, out of nowhere, but that doesn't work like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the
You got to go full steam in
biggest
December.
thing, for sure.
Nobody's working,
Yep.
right? Last week. So what's your predictions as we head into 2024? What do you think is going to happen this year? Is it going to be a better year? Is it going to be the same type of year? Is it going to be a worse year?
It is.
Be truthful.
Yeah, I think it's going to be probably about the same. If I had to guess, maybe slightly better. I think there's going to be some relief maybe on the interest rates slightly, or
gonna
they're
help.
going to just hopefully kind of hover where they're at. I think more so than them coming down, we just really need like stability with
Right.
them. So
Not
people
8%
kind of
one day, 6% the next day,
Exactly.
7% the next day, which
so
has been, yeah.
that's kind of how it's been. I think the stability will help a lot. Now we're going into an election year. Who knows
I know.
what kind of wacky
Right.
stuff?
It's going to get crazy.
It's going to get wacky. So
especially in summertime as
Right.
we get closer.
So it's like,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to predict. I could see a situation where they try and cut the rates towards that time to make things feel like maybe
said
they're
this
a
a
little
few
bit
times.
better than they are.
Things get rosy.
Right. So
Everything looked great,
yeah.
So
we'll see. But yeah, I think it's going to be similar in the setting of.
So will agents start to get back into the business then?
I don't think so.
So you think now that they exited this 100,000 since January, which is a huge number, and that's not lying. We're talking about renewals and people that got out. They did That's truly what got out.
So the renewal date, I think, is actually, you have to renew your license next year in, I believe, May or June in PA. So we're expecting a lot of people to just not renew their license. And
not even renew.
I don't think it's a situation where, I don't think things will pick up fast enough for people to be like, I got to get back in. It's going to be like a little bit of a slower progression where they're not going to want to deal with it, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So agents don't get back in, which is more business for us.
Yeah.
Right? Which I hate to say.
No,
and
I
that's I think
it's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
The more competent people are going to be taking a larger share of business, which is a good thing for, honestly, the consumer.
And I think you'll see the inventory go up, right?
Yeah,
somewhat.
I think so. I mean, as far as like the burbs, you think?
The burbs, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll go up.
Okay.
I think it'll go up.
I mean, I could see that, and I think that
it's been creeping up. In Philly,
because
we
I
have
think
enough.
There's Philly, you got too much right now.
There's enough inventory.
55 days on the market is something I didn't even know.
Yeah,
I didn't know
where
was
it's
that.
at.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so we go into the same type of year, which is good. It's not down, right? People kept saying to me, well, they think it's even going to be worse next year. I don't think how we can get much worse than what we've just went through. We went through pretty bad.
Yeah.
But we should wait and see. As far as buyers coming into the market, should they rent or buy right now? I guess
it's a very personal thing.
Yeah.
I think it depends on your situation. Like, if you're looking in the city, again, there's deals out there. So I've been hitting up people who are on the sidelines. I'm like, listen, these are the deals I'm seeing if you're interested. Now, I don't think it's in everyone's best interest to buy real estate. In fact, I think there's some people who should probably never buy real estate.
Right.
But for the most part, I think if you want to build that long-term equity and wealth, I think this is actually a very good time to buy because you're going to buy something at a discount.
I like that. Right.
And
you get it at a cheap price.
If the rates come down, you're
going to refi anyway.
If not, then you locked in, I guess, when rates were lower than they're going to be if they don't come down.
Sure.
So,
right. I think all these people that got the 7% and 8%, they think it's gloom and doom because it's the end of the world. 7 and 8% is not rate. It's an average rate, and they will come down.
Yep.
It's not. Listen, it's not if they'll come down; it's when they'll come down because they will.
I think so, but over historically, that 7% range is very reasonable.
I think it's a good rate.
It's a good rate.
The problem is that the cost of living and the salaries have not kept up with those rates.
I agree.
Right.
And that's where it's difficult because when you look at the monthly payment on these homes at a 7%, I mean, when we were selling $300,000 homes to first-time home buyers and rates were 3%, great monthly. Now it's like that $300,000 at 7% looks a lot different on the monthly.
I mean, the monthly payment, and I said this in one of the shows before, but the monthly payment on a $300,000 house used to be $1,500 a month.
$1,500
because $1,500 a month was
that entry point.
Yes.
Yeah, it was that.
Everybody wants to be $1,500 a month, right?
My first home, that's like right.
That was the number
right where I was.
Now it's 25.
Right. And that's a big difference.
That's
when
huge.
There's no difference in the amount of money that people are making.
And the house isn't nice now.
It's not.
These houses are not in good shape, for $300,000. You know,
you got to put that in perspective for your sellers too, because I have sellers who are looking at it like, oh, I bought this years ago. It should be worth X, Y, and Z. And I show them what the mortgage is on it, and they're like, oh, really? That's what the mortgage is right now? I'm like, yeah, it's like double.
They can't understand
what you
they don't even want to know.
Right.
Well, that's what it is. You get all these old pre-approvals that I pre-approved people last year that come back now into the market when they see it.
That's different. Totally different.
They're like, what?
Yeah.
Plus, they don't qualify now.
Yeah.
Because they only qualified for a $1,500 a month payment.
Right.
Now that
so
the
now
payments
it's 25, it's like you're not even in the conversation. Yeah.
This guy knows his stuff. Let me tell you. I mean,
you know your stuff too.
I mean, this guy knows his stuff. This is the type of person that you got to come to when you come into the market. You need somebody who's knowledgeable, right? You have your finger on the pulse of what's going on the street. You're not some office guy that just sits in the office, like you said, and comes in at 10:30, plays around with the girls, or looks at the, Did I just say that? Right? You're not chasing around people and doing all this stuff, whatever extracurricular activities, and you're doing your job. Yeah. Right? You're coming in, and this is the kind of guy that you really want to see go forward. If you're the qualities he possesses is the kind of realtor that you want. I think as we go into 2024, my biggest prediction is that if you stick with a local realtor and a local lender like myself, you're going to see the difference versus going online or going with someone that you don't know.
Absolutely. I think it's just as important on the mortgage side, if not more.
And the Keller Williams name getting bigger and bigger, right?
It is, yeah.
It's like, I think that's half your sell right now. The name is so big too.
It's a big name. It's interesting because it's like all the brokerages are independently owned and operated. Yep. So I think even so, you can't just go off of the name. You can't just say, oh, it's a Keller Williams agent. I'm going to have a great experience. Right. Like the way one office can run is very different from how mine.
Because they're all individually owned.
Right. So you still have to really know that, you're vetting that person and understanding, like, are they operating at a high level in the area that you want to either buy or sell in?
Yeah.
Same on the mortgage side. Are they operating at a high level in the area that you want to buy or sell in?
It's true. And you interview every new agent that comes into Keller Williams, I'm sure, on Jim's team.
On our team, yeah. We have like a little bit of a higher barrier to entry, I would say.
Is it you and Jim just mentally beating this person up to the, can you take it? Like, you put him in the corner.
Just put him through the ringer. No, I mean, it's really just
it's survive initiation, and you will be part of this team. All right, that's it.
It's a culture fit. It's really it's a feeling of understanding that this person has the same values. That, you don't necessarily need to be an experienced agent or a top producer to come and join the team. You just have to align with the values that we have.
Right. Which is not easy.
It's not.
Keller Williams, they take on a lot of agents just to get a person with a license, it feels like sometimes. I mean, they got 500 agents in one office.
Correct. It's you run into a situation where they are being paid based on the agent count, right?
I see. Right.
So they don't
just anybody.
Bring them on.
Right. Whether they do business, they don't do business.
Right.
They have a name, they don't have a name, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So. Listen, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Alex.
This guy's good.
I appreciate you having me.
No, please.
Yeah,
Come back.
I would love to.
We're going to go to your office, though, again.
All right.
Because it was fun over there.
Yeah, we'll do the lounge upstairs.
We'll do the lounge upstairs, right? We'll have some beers. We'll hang out, right?
Go to the casino after?
Go to the casino, which is right across the street. You got to see this guy's office. It's no joke. And they even got free parking over there, right? Just where I parked when I went there. So
don't say that too loud. I won't pick up on it.
We'll cut that part out, right? But thanks for coming on,
Thanks,
man.
Alex. I appreciate it.
I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you. Tune in Wednesday, 9 a.m., right? Every week. Check this episode out. We got Tori Schroff from the Schroff Room coming up next week. So check him out. I'll have some more information on him on my website coming up. And enjoy your night.